It's July 25th, 2013.
Happy birthday, Perry!
Well, thank you.
How old are you?
65.
And what has your birthday made you?
Wiser than ever. What can I say? Oh my God, just barely started, and this latest, greatest Perry Logan show, Wiser Than Ever, has hit a huge glitch. We're going back in time. Oh my God, we're going back in time. Woo! Everything has gone wrong. This is worse than listening to a Democrat defend Obamacare. Ladies and gentlemen, the management wishes to apologize for the fact that we suddenly find ourselves moving rapidly backward in time. But let's face facts, folks. July 25th, 2013 was no great shakes. In fact, we know the standard of living for most Americans has been going down steadily right on up to July 25th, 2013, so it stands to reason that as we go backward in time, the standard of living gets better and better.
As we go back in time, the standard of living gets better and better. The standard of living gets better and better as we go backward in time.
Thank you, Guy with a pipe, for that extrapolation. But it's true. In case you hadn't noticed, standards of living for Americans have been going straight down since the 1970s. Since the advent of the Republican Revolution, the wiser than ever Perry Logan would tell us. Yes! Not to interrupt your little time travel thing you're doing here, but standards of living have been going down and going straight down and going down, down, down ever since the Republican Revolution in 1970. Well, Perry, there's nothing that says we have to look that way. We just wish our standard of living were going to start going up for a change. Maybe this explains this mysterious movement. My friends, I fear we're going back much further than the 70s. My friends, I believe we have reached our destination. It was a dark and stormy night. July 25th, 1948. Somewhere in the skies over America, a UFO harasses a passenger plane. And in the tiny village of Ypsilanti, Michigan, Perry Richard Logan is born. 1948, my friend, the year of Perry Logan's birth. And do you know what this makes him? No, what does this make him? It makes little Perry Logan a very lucky boy. You see, Perry was born in the post-New Deal years. Yes, well, you might cheer the New Deal. Let's all hear it for the New Deal. Let's all hear it for the New Deal. You know how you can tell the New Deal was cool? Know how? By the nature of the people who oppose it. It's all those wingers who oppose it, and they're the ones who led to the Republican Revolution and the steady downward movement of the American quality of life for the next 30 years. You see, little Perry Logan was born into a kind of an economic rocket ride, the likes of which have not been seen in this sector of the universe ever. What? Like a whole sector of the universe? Yes, Perry, don't let it throw you. Lucky little Perry. He was living in an age when only the father or the mother needed to have a job. But that didn't keep both of my parents from having a job. Aww. All right, Perry, we get that both your parents had a job. But it was a time of unprecedented prosperity when the average guy could make a good living. Unions were strong. And we all know unions strengthen the economy. Unions strengthen the middle class. Why, that's right. It's like tin pot dictators that hate unions, don't you know? Haven't you noticed it's like the weird fascists, the crazy dictators they all hate unions. Don't you get it? Good point, Perry. The United States had many flaws, especially its treatment of women and minorities. It had many revolutions to go through, but those were to come later. Nevertheless, somehow, the New Deal, coupled with World War II, and what was World War II, fiscally speaking, but a sort of New Deal on steroids?
Yes.
What was World War II from the fiscal point of view? Well, I'll tell you. I know you want to know. And hey, I'm wiser than ever, so here goes. World War II was nothing more nor less than a huge, just huge government project. It was the feds. World War II was like a huge, super centralized federal project. It was big government. It was a big government, and they were spending money hand over fist, and nobody at that time had a single little thought about deficits, and it turned the whole world into this massive, super duper economic money-making machine which swelled the middle class and made us all fat and this, my friends, was the world into which that lucky little Perry Richard Logan was born. But you know, those little baby boomers like Perry were not lucky in every respect. Here's Dr. Perry Logan to explain. Why no, the little boomers were not lucky in all respects. I just wanted to point out they lived on the verge of this wonderful economic rocket ride, or if you prefer, economic drug trip. I just thought I would use a little forbidden drug reference there. Here, 1948. Yeah, it's 1948. And a little baby Perry and his little colleagues were not, it wasn't like all good. For example, we were being raised on Wonder Bread chemicals and radiation, okay? Among other things, us lucky little baby boomers were being raised by the greatest generation whom we all love. We were being raised kind of on chemicals, kind of on radiation, kind of on Wonder Bread. We were the first generation where they thought, let's just see what happens if we raise these little whippersnappers on chemicals. A little radiation thrown in. The boomers, we'll call them boomers. And kvetch about them all their livelong lives. Think of that as a shout out to the greatest generation. Well, I just wanted you to realize there was that little wrinkle there, that while we had it good in so many ways, us little boomers, they kind of had it in for us too. Yeah. They were raising us on all these chemicals, and then when we came of age, they sent us off to die in Vietnam. It was like they were trying to kill us. Well, Dr. Logan seems to be getting a little ahead of himself. Chemicals and Wonder Bread aside, the baby boomers lived during a time when the standard of living for Americans was going up in a great joyride to the skies. Let's all hear it for the New Deal. My friends, we have got to revive the New Deal. We have got to make the New Deal stronger so that our future generations of Americans can enjoy a little piece of that economic rocket ride the New Deal made possible for the little baby Perry. The little baby Perry, conceived in the normal way. Little knew what a wonderful world he was going into, largely because of programs of the New Deal that made a safety net for all of us. Aww. And you see, that's why New Deal stuff is as popular as sex. May I point out New Deal stuff to WPA. Social Security. Stay calm. Keep it in your pants. Please, keep it in your pants. But it is just very stimulating to talk about true, progressive, liberal, New Deal policies, which we must bring back. My friends, they're right in the USA, a minority of white males mostly, but they have all the money. The right in America is a minority of white males, and they have all the money. But they got it together. They got it together, my friends, in the 70s, the 1970s, when that little rocket rod that Mr. Logan has averred to, that little rocket rod really did start turning around. It turned around in the 1970s precisely because the right, whom, to give credit where it's due, got their stuff together in the 1970s, and they really did start reversing the New Deal. Now, how do you like that? Do we love our rightward brothers and sisters because they really did start monkeying with the New Deal? They started taking stuff back. They started, mucking it up. And my thesis, as you may know from this program, is being wiser than ever. My thesis is that the New Deal and related stuff led to that economic rocket ride. There can be no denial. Led to improved standard of living. Led to an improved standard of living for all. Hey, we didn't even have homelessness back then. When I was growing up, we more or less didn't have homelessness. In other words, we didn't have significant numbers of our fellow Americans living on the street. And do you know why? Why? Because New Deal programs had put that to an end, you fool! I do this for your own good. New Deal programs and related things where the government takes care of the people, which it's damn well supposed to do. Well, the righties don't think it is, and so sure enough, using their ample monies and zeal and a whole lot of trickery, they have managed to pull the New Deal back. And that's why when you get all the way up to July 25th, 2013, you find me, wiser than ever, saying we gotta revive the New Deal. No, man, it's been like straight downhill since the 70s. The whole thing, everything's been straight downhill. The middle class has been shrinking. The unions have been shrinking. Anything that would make like a corporate exec happy has happened. Wages are going down, still going down under the Democrats. The Democrats having been bought out by the corporations just like the pubs were bought out by the corporations. As of Reagan, at least, you see. Remember when Reagan said government was the problem? It was kind of like a white flag to the corporations. Think about it. White flag to the corporations. You see, what Reagan did essentially was to weaken the government vis-a-vis the big corporations. And what do you suppose happened? Why, a child could tell you.
The government ate us for lunch, right, Perry?
Right, little guy. Yeah, it was like, my whole take on the Reagan thing is that, think of this as just an idiotic power blunder. You weaken the government, kind of. In relation to corporations, Ronald Reagan weakened the central government because, it's a problem and it's all those onerous regulations and like workplace safety things and food health things that were getting in the way of the profits. And so what Reagan was doing, you see, was handing the keys over to the corporations. Now, think about it. The corporations today, the multinationals, the big guys, are bigger than most countries. You probably know that. Okay, they're bigger than most countries. So in other words, they can even give a big country like us a run for our money. They can totally overwhelm a smaller country. Now, think about that. Who's going to protect you from power like that? Righties and libertarians, whom I love, pretend like there's no corporations out there waiting to eat you for lunch. And this is exactly what happened. It's just like Jefferson said. Damn straight, Perry. It is I who warned about the corporations. And now look, they run roughshod over the laws of the land, and it all goes back to that bastard Ronald Reagan frying in hell. Okay, that was a slightly angry version of Thomas Jefferson, but he subscribes to the Logan version of things. Is that only a strong central government, like it or not, only a strong central government has the power, the power to resist or fight back or control, hopefully, these big corporations. There's a zillion of them. They all have fortunes everywhere. They can buy anything. And so Reagan's solution, the Republican solution, was to hand the keys over. It's a realpolitik thing. Can I say realpolitik thing? Whereby it was a power vacuum. Reagan weakened the government, so get them off the corporations' backs, and the corporations now control the whole show. Yeah. And of course, they are anti-New Deal, folks. Corporations hate the New Deal because the New Deal was, among other things, a signal reining in of corporate power. So, I bring back a New Deal. I bring back the New Deal. So, I bring back the New Deal. I bring back the New Deal. Yes, in my newfound wisdom, I am wiser than ever today. In my newfound wisdom, I think the thing for us to focus on is getting the New Deal back. Getting the stuff they gave us in the New Deal. The stuff that made me a lucky little boomer. Economically, I would say, a lucky little guy. Not that my family had any amount of money, but that as a group, the whole scene got better, and I mean, it just got so hot. Hey, look, deliberate exaggeration there. You see, these liberal programs, these kind of New Deal-y, liberally, some might even say socialist programs. I don't even know if it's legal to say that. Socialist programs like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, why, they are just so popular. They're more popular than sex. And by the way, that kind of proves Obamacare is not a progressive law. That's a little quick riff on Obamacare, which is like Obama's big bill is the thing they call Obamacare, the thing they laughingly call Obamacare. And I'm submitting to you that if Obamacare were a true liberal, progressive, lefty, socialist, a socialist program, it would be as popular as sex. And it ain't. No, it ain't. And my take on it, if you're wondering about my take on Obamacare, is that it's just a really bad law the Dems lifted from the Repubs. Can you believe this? Yeah. Apparently, tearing down the New Deal has also caused the Dems to lose their good senses, lose their good judgment, and they have passed a law which I think is doomed to fail for various basic reasons. Quickly, in a nutshell, Obamacare leaves the power for getting you health care in the hands of the insurance companies. Now, these are private, for-profit companies, and they make money by not delivering you any health care. This is just the literal truth. It's not because they're wicked or anything is wrong with these people, but that's how the system works, you see. That's it. When you have a private company supplying you with health insurance, they make money in as much as you don't cash in, you see. That's their incentive, is not to give you what you want. So with Obamacare, you know, they made this effort, I'm sure it was sincere, to control the companies and get them to, you know, act a little less like bloody corporations. And they got rid of things like pre-existing conditions. Sure, but you see, nothing changes the fact that those companies, through no real fault of their own, make money by not giving you any health care. It's like, I would just call that no way to run a railroad. And it is, essentially a conservative idea. The mandate was a variation on the idea of a mandate, really did come from the right-wing Heritage Foundation. It's their idea. Okay? So that's my little take on Obamacare. It doesn't compare to these other programs like Social Security, Medicare, the ones that make us hot. No, it's true though. Liberal, lefty, progressive, New Deal style programs are as popular as sex. But by the same token, they have some mighty powerful enemies. There's just no two ways about it. So we find ourselves in 2013 with the safety net. We have just kind of a pathetic little piece of a safety net. Things like the safety net unions, stuff that lefties love and righties hate. Well, it's a good time to be a righty, actually, because the unions are in bad shape and the left is in bad shape. We are actually in terrible, terrible shape. There's a gun under every pillow. And all of this comes about because the New Deal stuff was dismantled. The righties got their way. Righties. You don't mind if I call you righties, do you? Since you don't mind saying Democrat when you mean Democratic. A much more insidious curve, I've been doing little curves here, comparing and contrasting the New Deal years when I was growing up, born in a little cabin in Ypsilanti, Michigan, while a UFO menaced a nearby plane. That's my story. But really and truly, another thing that went better after the New Deal, I think, is human rights.
Human rights, Perry?
Yes, O goddess of rights. Human rights made some progress, very difficult and hard-earned progress by our black brothers and sisters, our gay brothers and sisters, and our sisters. And just anybody who wasn't a white guy. Come on. This was America, and it was unfair to anybody who wasn't a white guy, and I assure you, to most white guys too. And like the other curves we've been looking at, along about the 1970s, the political right really did begin to make inroads into all that kind of, I guess it was socialist or, socialist democratic stuff, where the government was essentially trying to take care of people and help them. Well, the right hates that. And they did start to reverse it, to bring us to the present where, oh my God, haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? The human rights situation for us really just started getting worse and worse, till it's reached a crescendo now. Admittedly, it's under Obama. something happened there with the Democrats. But I still blame the Republican Revolution because Obama's policies are like Republican Revolution crap. And but another thing that went downhill when they started taking away the New Deal were human rights. Isn't that interesting? If you just kind of grant me my little donate here. Would you give me my donate, damn it? Otherwise you're gonna screw up the whole show!